I was a very curious kid, the kind who loved asking my parents impossible questions just to see what they'd say. Like, "Mom, would you sell me for $1 billion?" One day, I think I was 6, I asked my dad, "Bala, Dad, if you could wish for anything in this world, what would you wish for?" I wished to go home. I wished to go back to Tibet. I didn't have the language at the time, not for geopolitics or occupation. I could barely do my times tables. But I remember the feeling with complete clarity. Something so ordinary, home, and yet it was the one thing he could not have. It left me with this sickly feeling that I couldn't place. That feeling never left me. My name is Tsela Zoksang, and I am a Tibetan American activist. Like so many born in exile, I was raised by the stories of Tibetan parents who were forced to flee Chinese invasion in 1959, following His Holiness the Dalai Lama across the Himalayas on foot and into exile. It is this chronic homesickness that belongs to every single Tibetan in exile and to the 8 million Tibetans inside of Tibet who no longer recognize their own home. That is because today, Tibet is ranked a 0 out of 100 on the global freedom score. It's difficult to conceive what life under 0 looks like. You're a Tibetan. You enter the gates of your monastery, and there's a police station inside. You reach for a prayer wheel, and it is watching you. On your way home, there are cameras scanning your face. They already have your DNA on file. You didn't do anything wrong. You are simply Tibetan. And it is precisely this Tibetanness that the Chinese government fears most. That is why they took your child away from you, far away, to be instructed in Mandarin and be indoctrinated with CCP ideology. When they come home, they are unable to speak to you because you no longer share a common language. Beyond just erasing the identities of the next generation, the CCP is also plundering Tibet's natural resources for the global market. As Chinese electric vehicles enter showrooms across the world, you or I now could be driving an EV that is powered by Tibetan lithium. Built on this, forced displacement and the poisoning of rivers, Tibet's rivers, that sustain 1/5 of humanity, that's 2 billion people. And yet, against all odds, Tibetans inside Tibet continue to resist. It is this courage that brought me to Students for a Free Tibet when I was 15. And it is what keeps me here now. At SFT, we campaign for Tibetans' freedom and independence by raising the cost of occupation. We have dropped banners over Xi Jinping's motorcade. We've forced major corporations like Thermo Fisher Scientific, Google, and Apple to end their complicity with the Chinese occupation. And as I alluded to earlier, we have dropped banners over Xi Jinping's motorcade outside of his hotels, forcing one of the most powerful dictators in the entire world to see the words, "Free Tibet." And we help free political prisoners who risk everything on the front lines. We do this through transformative training camps that equip Tibetan youth with not only the semshuk, the courage, but also the skills to one day see a free Tibet. We Tibetans believe in reincarnation. And many Tibetans, my father among them, say they hope to be reborn in a free Tibet. That if they cannot make it home in this body, perhaps the next one will make it. But I have never been able to make my peace with that. They should not have to wait for the next life. They should be able to go home in this one. And I think that's why you're all here too. Because all of us in this room, not a single one of us are willing to wait for the next life, for justice to prevail. All of us came to Oslo this week because fundamentally we believe that dictatorship from Putin to Xi to Ortega can be dismantled. But modern tyranny, we know, relies on global lifelines to keep it standing. And so it is up to us to cut those lifelines. So if you are a journalist, help us expose China's colonial boarding schools and the CCP's greenwashing, which they spend billions to keep hidden. If you work on climate solutions, stand with us to ensure that the green transition is not only genuinely green, but unconditionally just. I have never stepped foot in Tibet, but I believe that our movement will outlast the regime that made it so. We do not have state recognition, a seat at the UN, or military power, but we have something the Chinese government fears far more: memory that endures and a strategy that works. Free Tibet, Peg Yellow!